We all have a story. Your story is not my story, and my story is not yours. However, we can find joy, hope, and emotional healing even through our most painful moments in life. Let's walk and take this journey of healing together, one step at a time, because your story does not define you. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Niesha here, and welcome back to Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. I am so excited to share this episode with you, and I just want to take a minute and say thank you. Thank you for joining me again on this platform. If this is your first time joining me, I want to say welcome. I encourage you right now to download this podcast. Let it be one of your favorites. I want to encourage you to share it with somebody, share it with your community, share it with your friend, share it with your coworker, because I guarantee you that there is something on this platform, on this podcast, that you can relate to, that others can relate to. So I definitely want to encourage you to share this podcast. So what is your vibe today? My vibe today is gratitude and gratefulness. I know that I say that often when I talk about my vibe, that I'm always talking about being grateful. But look, y'all, I am so grateful. I'm grateful every single day that I am alive and that God has allowed His grace and mercy to shine upon me. I am grateful every day that I get to see my family and my loved ones. I am grateful every day because look, y'all, life can always be different. Life could go another way. So I am very grateful every single day that I get the chance to wake up, that I get the chance to talk to people, that I get the chance to minister to somebody and speak life into somebody's life. I am grateful every single day that God chooses me to do the work that I do because He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to shine His grace and mercy on me. So when I say I'm grateful, y'all, that is really my vibe. I am so grateful just for being able to be in this space. And so I just want to encourage you all that remember, you have the power to control your vibe. You can shift your mood. You can change your attitude all the time. You can refocus, reset as many times a day that you need to, because I get it, y'all. Sometimes the day be going and life be lifing, y'all, as we always say. And things just be happening, sometimes unexpectedly when we don't expect it. So remember, realign yourself, reshift yourself, refocus, because you control your vibe and you have the power to shift your mood. So look, today, y'all, we're talking about the holidays. Thanksgiving is coming up, y'all. A lot's going to be going on. A lot's already going on this week. People are traveling. People are taking off work. A lot is going on because of the Thanksgiving holiday. And so today we're going to talk about something that many people silently navigate this time of year. And that is how to be grateful during the holidays when you've experienced grief and loss, or when you're grieving, when you're hurting, or if you're just going through a major life transition. Because this is a hard time, right? The holiday season, people highlight it as, who's going to be missing from the table, the relationships that have changed, and the dreams or versions of life that didn't unfold the way that we hoped. And if that's you today, I want you to know that you are not alone. You're not doing anything wrong, and you're not feeling like your sadness is something that you're experiencing on an island by yourself, because there are so many people that are experiencing the same thing that you are experiencing. Even though the holidays are a joyous time and appears to be a joyous time for so many, that is not always the case. And so that's one reason why I want to highlight this episode and just talk about the holidays. I definitely love to touch on this every year, because this is a topic and a subject that, people don't often talk about. The holidays are fun and joyous again for so many, but it's also hard. So today's episode is definitely going to be a gentle one. We'll explore what gratitude looks like during a painful season, and we'll talk about why it's not about forcing positivity And I'll also walk you through several tools and strategies to help you experience small moments of grounding, hope, and connection, even in the midst of grief and even in the midst of pain during this season. So, I want to start off by redefining gratitude. So, when people are grieving, gratitude definitely feels like a burden. It's almost like you're supposed to override your pain and just be thankful, but that's not gratitude. That's definitely emotional bypassing. And so, one of the things that I want you to recognize is that when you are experiencing grief and when you're going through pain during the holidays, that you don't have to force yourself to feel like you're in a space of thankfulness. But I want you to understand that real gratitude is gentle. It's just simply the act of noticing, y'all. I talk about all the time about being present with your feelings and being present with your emotions. And that's being in the space of noticing. It's allowing yourself one moment of presence in the midst of everything that you're carrying, which I know that is so hard. I know that's very hard to be in that space. It's hard to be in that space when you feel heavy, when you feel burdened down, and when you feel like you have so much on your shoulders. It's hard to be in that space of gratitude. So, what gratitude doesn't say is that everything is okay. However, what gratitude does say is that something small is okay, even if everything is not. And so that's just recognizing that you get to hold both, right? The love and the loss, the joy and the sadness, the memories and the longing. This is called both and gratitude, because remember, they both can coexist at the same time. You can be in a space where you feel joy, and you can be in a space where you feel sadness all at the same time, and that is okay. Saying things like, I miss them deeply, and I'm grateful for the years I had with them. Saying things like, this season hurts, and I'm thankful for the people who reached out to me. Gratitude isn't about picking a side, y'all. It's about allowing complexity. And that complexity is learning how to embrace the joy and the sadness all at the same time. It's really hard when you have to experience the holidays without people that once was in your life anymore. It's hard because sometimes gratitude in the midst of thinking about your parent or your child that is not going to be here anymore, it doesn't seem like that's something that you should be embracing. However, remember, y'all, that it coexists at the same time, that you can experience joy and you can experience sadness all at the same time. So when we think about the holidays, holidays are very much emotional anniversaries. Even if it's not the exact date of your loss, this season can bring so many memories that just come rushing back to your mind. Voices, smells, traditions, moments that once felt like comforting. It felt like peace when you had these people in your life, but now for this particular reason, it feels heavy. So when this happens to you and these emotional anniversaries start flooding your mind, it doesn't mean that you're going backwards. Not at all. It just means that you're human and that your heart remembers. It means that you still love those people, love those relationships that no longer are present now. So if you are somebody with emotions, or if you feel like your emotions feel bigger around this time of year, I just want you to know, and I want to validate you in this moment and say that nothing is wrong with you. You're experiencing normal grief, and it's very normal during this time of year to experience those feelings, to feel heavy, to start remembering, to start hearing your voices, to start thinking about family traditions. Those are things that are so normal. And so I definitely want you to be in a space to know that during this time of year, that when you start feeling that heaviness, that is perfectly okay. Be present with your emotions. Acknowledge that they're there. because that is the only way that you're going to be able to work yourself through it and process it. So when we think about some of the benefits of just gentle gratitude, practice gently. Gratitude can actually help soften the intensity of grief. And so grief feels heavy. And when we are experiencing gratitude, or when we're learning how to embrace gratitude during this difficult time, it's not going to erase anything. But what gratitude does is that it gives our mind and our bodies small anchors. And so these are things that we can hold on to help us actually during the holidays so that they won't be as heavy. So when we think about gratitude, gratitude really helps us to regulate our nervous systems. It brings us into the present because it helps us to acknowledge again what space that we're in, what we are feeling in the moment. It helps us to remind us of the support that we have. It helps us to remind us of the connections that we have, and also the meanings of people and relationships that once were present in our lives. And it also gives us a break. It gives our brain a break from feeling overwhelmed. So when we think about moments of gratitude, I want you to think of it like this way. It's not a solution to help you with processing your grief and loss, but it's a moment to pause. It's like a pause button. It gives you the opportunity to just take a minute and stop. Take a minute and reflect. Take a minute and think back. And take a minute and just let your heart feel that gratefulness for the time and the space that you had with those people that you love, the time and the space that you had with those relationships. And then also taking a moment to just pause and think about the connections that you have right now. Think about the things that you've been blessed with and the things that you have been afforded with right now. So when you think of gratitude, I really just want you to put yourself in the mind space of it's giving yourself time to take a pause. It's giving yourself time to just take a moment and just have that space to be with yourself, to be present with your emotions and learn how to process, how to feel it and know what to do when you feel sad. How do you help yourself through that sadness? So it's giving yourself a minute to pause. So that's one thing that I really, really want you to sit with, that gratitude is not a solution, but it's a pause button, just giving you a moment to pause, reflect, and to think back. And so one of the things that I want to do today is that I really, really want you to gain some tools and strategies to help you with practicing gratitude while grieving, because this is something that's going to be so important. I know you hear me talk about it. I know you hear me telling you certain things, but it's more important to know that you have tools and strategies. And so what I want you to do today is that as I share these tools and strategies, I definitely want you to put them in your tool belt, because these are things that you get to have. These are things that you get to keep with you and that you get to take with you along your life. You may need to use them for this holiday season. You may not. You may have to use them later on in life. But one of the things that I want you to recognize and know that you have these tools and you have these strategies that you can use on a day-to-day basis. So if we go back to taking a pause and we go back to reflecting, one of the things that can be so important is just taking a few minutes out of your day to just focus on something small. It doesn't have to be something big. So it can be things like, for example, focusing on the sun, just focusing on, okay, if the weather is nice outside, focusing on the sunlight, where you might be standing outside or wherever you see the sun's reflection, something like that, something small. Thinking about, okay, if you're laying in bed and you're under your covers and just being able to have a warm blanket, focusing on the warmth of that blanket and how that blanket provides comfort to you. Just having a moment of silence. When you take a pause, that is exactly what you're doing. You're taking a moment to just sit still and be in a space of silence. Things like listening to a song that makes you feel good, a song that makes you feel comforted, a song that brings you joy. So in grief, one of the things that is important is that we need those small acts of movement, acts of joy that helps us with being able to kind of like reground us in that moment. And I know that it sounds so simple, but what I want you to understand is that when you are grieving, things like this that are small are actually so powerful and they are so profound. And so when you think of this, I want you to just know that sometimes taking those moments to incorporate those small pockets of joy is what I like to call it, pockets of joy, and helping yourself to just feel that space of taking a time out and reflecting and getting yourself back in a space that feels good to you are things that are going to be so helpful for you. Another thing that you can also do is learn how to say gratitude statements. And so when you say these statements, it kind of goes back to some of the things that I was sharing with you earlier, is that you can acknowledge your pain, but then you can also be grateful at the same time. So for example, saying statements like, I'm grieving, but I'm so proud of myself for making it through today. You can say things like, I feel lonely. However, I'm very grateful for the people who love me from afar. You can say things like, man, this holiday is hard, but I'm so thankful for the moments to rest. When you say these things and when you're able to make these statements, this removes the pressure to feel only one thing, meaning that you don't have to feel the pressure to feel sad just because it's the holidays and you know that your loved ones aren't going to be here anymore. You don't have to feel the pressure to say that, man, this day is going to be tough because I have to spend it by myself. This relieves that pressure of thinking that you have to be in that space of sadness. You have to be in that space of feeling sorry for yourself, or you have to be in that space of feeling lonely. You do not. Remember, joy and sadness can coexist at the same time. And sometimes you have to say those statements to validate yourself and to reassure yourself that you can have the liberty to be in that space. So one of the other things that I oftentimes like to tell people is that when you have experienced loss and when you have experienced any type of loss, whatever it is, that the memories that you have with that person or with that relationship are things that are yours. Nobody can ever take that from you. So place those memories that served you, those memories that feel good to you. I'd like to tell people to place it in their memory vault, meaning that these are things that you can lock up and that you can unlock anytime that you want to. And these are memories that people cannot take from you. And so the power in these memories is just being able to remember them and being able to think about them and being able to laugh and being able to smile about a special person or a special time in your life that was meaning for you. So one of the things that remembrance does is that it gives your pain a place to land. And so what I mean by that is that when you think of that person that you lost during the holidays, and when you think about, okay, they're not going to be here anymore and I'm not going to be able to do this anymore because they're not here anymore. For example, if you lost a parent and you know that there was something that your parent loved to do or loved to cook or loved to make, doing things to honor them during this time is going to be so important for you because, again, this gives your pain a place to land. So, for example, I tell people all the time that, you know what, cook a certain food that you and that person used to cook, or cook a certain food that you know that they used to cook. And when you do this, even though it's going to be painful at the time to think about it, you're also giving yourself that space in that moment to also experience joy. Because even though it might be hard to think about, man, Big Mama's not going to be here anymore. I remember when she used to make those sweet potato pies that was so fire. Make that sweet potato pie that Big Mama used to make. That was so fire. Because even in that moment of you missing Big Mama, you are also going to be smiling and your heart is also going to be full of joy because you're going to remember how much joy that sweet potato pie brought to you. And this is what's going to help you to anchor that pain and to give that pain a place to land. Things like sharing a favorite story about that person, something that can make you laugh, that can make you smile, placing an ornament or an object on a tree or on a table that can help you to remember and honor that person. Memories are something that are yours forever. You know, I know sometimes when people experience traumatic things in their life, you do block out those negative things. But those positive things that you remember, those are memories that make you feel good. Those are memories that were important to you at some point in your life. And remember, you get to put those things in the memory vaults, and you get to have those things forever, because nobody gets to take those from you. Those are yours. You can unlock them and lock them up when you feel like you need to. Those are yours. And I want to encourage you. Unlock those memories. Smile, laugh. Let those memories bring you joy. Let those memories help to anchor that pain, and let those memories help carry you through the tough seasons of the holidays, okay? So let's talk about the 5% rule. What is the 5% rule, y'all? The 5% rule just means that you don't have to give yourself 100% during the holidays. Now, if you know me, you know that I always talk about your capacity. Remember, you do not have to be operating at your full capacity. You have the permission to change that percentage, and you could operate at whatever capacity serves you in that moment. So that means that during the holidays, you don't even have to give 50%. If you don't have 50% to give, you don't have to give 50%. If you can just aim for 5%, if that's all you have, it's 5%. 5% of effort, 5% of gratitude, 5% of engagement. If that's all you have, then I want to encourage you, aim for that 5%, because sometimes the most healing thing happens is in the bare minimum, when you give the bare minimum and letting that be enough, and just being okay with, okay, I don't really feel like going to my family's house for Thanksgiving because Big Mama's not going to be there anymore. And I know how much I loved her and how much I wanted her to be there. However, I'm going to attend this gathering, but all I have to give is 5%. And guess what? If that's all that you have, be okay with that. Aim for 5%. Look, y'all, matter of fact, just aim for 5% altogether. And if you got more than that to give, then give what you have. But if 5% is all that you can start with, go with that 5%, knowing that if I make it to 50%, then awesome, great. But if I only get to 5%, then I'm okay, y'all. It's okay to incorporate that 5% rule, because sometimes you can't operate at your full capacity. I tell you guys that all the time, that you can't operate at your full capacity, and sometimes you have to show up in the space that you're in. So one of the things that's also important during the holidays is that just really being able to recognize what your body is telling you. And so when I talk about trauma, and when I talk about doing trauma work, I always talk about you recognizing and knowing what your body is telling you and what's going on in your body, because your body is going to give you signals. Your body is going to give you some type of sign to say that I'm good, or some type of sign to say, hey, girl, get it together, because you totally off, right? And so when you think about grief isn't just something that's emotional, but it's also physical. And so when we are going through grief, we feel it not just in our emotions. We don't just feel it mentally, but we also feel it in our bodies. And so that means that sometimes we might experience a little bit of anxiety. Sometimes we might feel a little bit of panic, and our body is going to tell us that. We might feel overwhelmed. We might feel stressed. And the best way to help regulate those feelings, because all of this is happening in the nervous system, the best way to regulate those feelings is just learning how to recognize what your body is telling you. One of the best strategies to help with that is just learning how to breathe, right? Inhaling, exhaling, feeling it in your chest, feeling it in your arms, feeling it in your legs, and knowing how to help your body to get to a place that feels safe and a place that feels settled. So for example, one of the things that you can do is just place your hand on your chest. Just place your hand on your chest gently. Inhale for 3 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. And you keep doing that. Keep doing that until you get to a space where your body feels safe. Let's practice that together. Inhale for 3 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. And even when you're doing that, when you inhale for 3 seconds, hold that breath. Hold that breath for 3 seconds and then exhale for 6 seconds. And when you do that, give yourself time. Let that exhale take as much time as it needs. You don't have to inhale fast. You don't have to exhale fast. But I really want you to take some time and really, really, really exhale. Let that 6 seconds feel like 10 seconds, because that's how intentional you are about being present with where you're at, and also being intentional about taking that breath. This really helps with creating that space for gratitude without it even being forced. And even though you're not saying anything, and even though you're not doing anything, just taking that deep breath can be so powerful. And you can even get creative if you're in that space to where you feel comfortable thinking about your loved one, thinking about those good memories of that relationship that doesn't no longer serve you. You can even be intentional about when you inhale, take a minute and remember one of those memories that's in your memory vault. Unlock one of those memories that brought you joy. So it's like inhaling that moment in that space and time, and then just exhaling and telling yourself that was good. I enjoyed that time. Being intentional and saying these things and doing these things are the things that are going to help you during these challenging times. Because again, I can't reiterate it and say it enough that it's not easy. It's not easy being in the space when the holidays are here and you're trying to navigate through the grief, the loss, the hurt, the pain, the life transitions, and then trying to be in a space of gratitude. So I also want to talk about learning how to protect your energy. You are the keeper of your own peace. You are the keeper of your own peace. And I want to say that one more time. You are the keeper of your own peace. And it is your responsibility to learn how to protect your energy. What does that look like? What does that even look like? What does it look like to protect my energy? What that looks like, y'all, is that you don't have to attend everything. You don't have to attend every family function. You don't have to attend every function or every gathering that somebody invites you to. If you decide to attend something, you don't have to stay the whole time. If you feel like you've gotten to a place where, okay, you know what? It's time for me to go. I've been here long enough. Don't let somebody force you. Don't let somebody force you to stay, but remember that you can allow yourself to leave when you have to. And also, you don't have to pretend that you're okay. I often say all the time that it's okay not to be okay. And you don't have to be okay all the time. You don't have to pretend like you are okay. If you're not, you're just not okay, right? That is the power in being present with your emotions and being present with whatever space that you're in. And so when you are in this space of trying to protect your energy, you need to set boundaries. Boundaries like tell yourself before you even go to the function. If you decide that, okay, I'm going to the function, I'm going to show up because I love my family, I don't want to not go. Tell yourself, I'm going to go, but I'm only going to be there for an hour. I'm only going to be there for 30 minutes. And when that time is up, if you feel like you're ready to go, then it's okay to allow yourself to go. If you decide to go and you feel like, okay, you know what? I want to stay for a little bit longer, but from time to time, I need to take a break. I need to step away. I need to go to my car. I need to just have a minute to be with myself to reground. Maybe you need to have a minute to go refocus and change your vibe. We talk about changing your vibe all the time. So if that looks like you need to take a break from the function, because even though being around family can be so joyous at times, being around family can also be toxic at times too, depending on what your family dynamic is. So you may go into the function or go into the family gathering knowing that, okay, I know that my family is extra. I know that my family is a lot. And I know that when I come around them, it's heavy because it reminds me too much of other things. That you can go in knowing that it might be a little tough, but I also want you to know that you have the power to protect and change your energy because, again, remember, this is your space. This is your vibe. You get to choose how you want to show up in spaces. You get to choose how long you want to be in spaces. Protecting your energy is definitely a practice of self-gratitude because, again, this is you honoring you. This is you honoring the space that you're in and being okay with and knowing that you can be in that space and that is perfectly fine. Lastly, I just want to share with you just learning how to refocus, reshift, and rebuild what the holiday means to you because it's hard. One of the things with grief and loss is that when you lose people, especially family members, friends, when you've been in relationships, when you have been so used to certain rituals and certain family traditions and holiday traditions, that when you lose people and you don't have these relationships anymore, the thing that happens is that the holidays don't feel the same to you because you feel like, oh, because I'm not in this relationship anymore, because I'm not with this person anymore, or because you feel like, okay, my mom's not here, my dad's not here anymore, that the holidays can't be the same. However, this is where you have to reshift, realign, refocus, and learn how to rebuild what the holiday means to you. And this could look just like maybe changing the dynamic of what you do on the holidays. Okay, maybe your holidays were spent with family. Maybe your holidays were spent with friends. But maybe now you want to shift what that looks like. And you can do things like spending time with somebody who understands your grief. Spending time with somebody who's lost somebody and who knows what it feels like to go through grief and loss. Traveling. Start doing stuff for yourself. Make meaningful trips for yourself. Travel to places that you want to go to. Travel to places that make you feel good. Travel to places that remind you of people that you love and that you care about. Start volunteering. Doing something in your community. Volunteer in your community. Do something that fills your cup. This is what this is all about. Doing something that fills your cup. Doing something that's creative. And maybe sometimes not even doing anything at all. Even if that feels like, you know what? I just want to be at home. I want to be at home binge watching Netflix. I want to be at home just cleaning, reading, sitting still, listening to music, whatever it may be, cleaning my home, whatever that may look like for you. I just want you to understand that you can do what makes you feel good. You can do what fills your cup because this is what this is all about. The holidays don't have to be sad. The holidays can be a happy time and a joyous time and a sad time all at the same time. You can do both by just continuing to learn how to honor and reflect and to be present with where you're at. This is the profoundness of gratitude, and this is why gratitude is so important. And I know that sometimes when people talk about gratitude, people automatically assume that it has to be you just being in a space where you have to just be thankful. But no, this is your opportunity to actually sit back and reflect and sit back and be in a space that you feel like you deserve to be in, a space that you feel like you need. It's not forcing anything, but it's just gently giving yourself a nudge and acknowledging the space that you're in. Because sometimes the holidays definitely disrupt our routines because it reminds us of who's missing, and it also may bring up unresolved relationship issues and relationship emotional things that begin to resurface. Because again, okay, if we have experienced a divorce, or if we have experienced a breakup and we've been with somebody for a long time. Okay, the holidays may not feel good because we might start remembering what our significant other used to do for us on the holidays, or what they used to make, or what they used to contribute, or how you guys used to spend time together. So again, when it comes to gratitude, this is why it's so important, because gratitude calms our nervous system and it helps us reduce emotional overwhelmness. It helps us to regulate our emotions. It helps us to anchor our minds and to be present in the moment. Not the past, or not what we imagine could be in the future, but it helps us to anchor our minds and be present in the moments. And it creates micro moments of meaning, of connection, that helps people to endure during this season. So this is what I want you to really, really reflect and hold on to as we have this conversation of gratitude. Because gratitude, even though it sounds heavy, and even though it sounds like something that you feel like you have to be forced to do, remember, it's not. It's just a gentle reminder to tell yourself to take a pause, to stop, and to reground yourself, realign yourself, and put yourself in a space that feels good to you. So as we end this episode, I just want to take a moment and I want you to take a moment and just reflect. Wherever you are, if you can, I just want you to place your hand on your heart. And I want to go back to inhaling and exhaling. I want you to take a slow, deep breath. Inhale for 3 seconds. And as you exhale for 6 seconds, I want you to think of one small thing, just one thing that brings you joy. I want you to think about a memory that grounds you, that you can hold on to. It could be a memory, a feeling, a person, a smell. I want you to think of that one small thing. And I want you to just hold a space of gratitude for that thing. Let that gratitude be soft. Let it be simple. Let it be just enough for you. Let it anchor you. Let it ground you. And as you think of that one thing, I want you to and I want you to think in your heart that you deserve grace this season. Give yourself that grace that you need. You deserve gentleness in this season. Give yourself that gentleness. You deserve to move through this holiday season at your own pace. What feels good for you? What feels comfortable for you? Give yourself permission to move through this holiday season at your own pace, at the pace that feels comfortable for you. Be in the space that you need to be in. Allow gratitude to be a space of grounding, realignment, reshifting, refocusing, changing your vibe for you. Because even though the holidays are hard, even though it hurts, even though it's painful, even though you're missing that person, remember, you can hold space to be grateful. You can hold space to unlock that vault and unlock a memory that brings you joy. Look, y'all, I really want to say thank you for joining me today on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. Look, y'all, just as I'm giving you guys this message of gratitude, I am definitely going to be holding on to this myself. I'm going to be thinking about my dad, who I lost a few years ago. It still feels like yesterday for me. And so as I share this episode with you all today, I'm definitely going to be using these tools and strategies for myself. I'm going to be thinking of my dad. I'm going to be honoring my dad. I'm going to be holding space to think about memories, to think about hearing his voice when he used to sing. I'm going to be holding space for that, y'all. And I want you to encourage you to do the same. Dr. Niesha here. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast today. I pray that you all have an amazing Thanksgiving holiday. I pray that you all take care of yourself, that you protect your energy, that you set good boundaries, and that you take care of you, and that you smile even when it hurts, because remember, joy and sadness can coexist at the same time.